What is the final 7 years, the 3.5 years, 1260 days, and 42 months, all of which are specifically stated in the Bible concerning the end time? The Bible shows us a 3.5-year timeline in many places. We have multiple places in the Bible that give us very specific times that things will happen. Daniel chapter 7 verse 25, time and times and the dividing of time equals 3.5 years. Daniel chapter 9 verse 27, 1 week equals 7 years, in the midst of the week equals 3.5 years. Daniel chapter 12 verse 7, times, and a half equals 3.5 years. Daniel chapter 12 verse 11, 90 days equals 3.53 years. Daniel chapter 12 verse 12, 35 days equals 3.66 years. Revelation chapter 11 verse 3, 60 days equals 3.5 years. Revelation chapter 13 verse 5, 42 months equals 3.5 years. Revelation chapter 12 verse 14, a times and half a time equals 3.5 years. Old Testament verbiage. A time is 1 year, times is 2 years, and a half or the dividing of time is half a year. So this is 1 plus 2 plus 0.5 equals 3.5 years. Take note that the scriptures give us that time frame in several ways. 1260 days, times and a half, and 42 months. This diversity in the verbiage gives us the proof that it's actually 1260 literal days. It's 3.5 years. Which of these are referring to the time of the Antichrist? All of them. So let's look at the timelines where it's very specifically talking about the Antichrist and the 3.5 years that he will reign. Daniel 7, Daniel 12 and Revelation chapter 13. Daniel chapter 7 verse 25, and he shall speak great words against the Most High, and shall wear out the saints of the Most High, and think to change times and laws. And they shall be given into his hand until a time and times and the dividing of time. Here in Daniel it is specifically talking about how long the Antichrist will be in power. So here we have 3.5 years exactly. Revelation chapter 13 verse 5, and there was given unto him a mouth speaking great things and blasphemies, and power was given unto him to continue 42 months. Here in Revelation it is also specifically talking about how long the Antichrist will be in power. 42 months is exactly 3.5 years. Daniel 11 gives us a ton of information about the Antichrist, and continues into Daniel 12 where he gives us the time frame of these events. Daniel chapter 12 verse 7, and I heard the man clothed in linen, which was upon the waters of the river, when he held up his right hand and his left hand unto heaven, and swear by him that liveth for ever that it shall be for a time, times, and an half. And when he shall have accomplished to scatter the power of the holy people, all these things shall be finished. 11 And from the time that the daily sacrifice shall be taken away, and the abomination that maketh desolate set up, there shall be 1,290 days. So Daniel specifically tells us that this event will happen 3.5 years before all these things shall be finished. Time, 1 year, times, 2 years, and a half a year, equals 3.5 years, and 1290 days equals 3.53 years. These things are what Daniel 11 and into Daniel 12 just said. It's the time of the Antichrist who will come to his end, and, at that time, there will be a time of trouble such as never was. This time of trouble is the same thing Jesus is referring to if we continue reading in Matthew chapter 24 verse 15 when he says, when we see the abomination of desolation spoken of by Daniel the prophet, Matt 24-21, then shall be great tribulation, such as was not since the beginning of the world to this time, no, nor ever shall be. So Daniel and Jesus together specifically say that the beginning of the reign of the Antichrist will be the abomination of desolation, and that event will start the Great Tribulation, and that it will last for 3.5 years. Again, the reign of the Antichrist will be 3.5 years. Now put that together with Daniel chapter 9 verse 27. Daniel chapter 9 verse 27, and he shall confirm the covenant with many for 1 week, and in the midst of the week he shall cause the sacrifice and the oblation to cease. And for the overspreading of abominations he shall make it desolate, even until the consummation, and that determined shall be poured upon the desolate. Daniel 9's prophecy is of 70 weeks of years, and this final week where he, the Antichrist, confirms the covenant will be the last week, 7 years, and in the midst of the week, 3.5 years in, he'll be this abomination of desolation that Jesus mentioned in Matt 24. The event Jesus is referring to in Matthew chapter 24 verse 15 is Daniel chapter 9 verse 27. The Antichrist will confirm the covenant for 7 years and will be an abomination to God and will make it, the holy place, the temple, desolate in the midst of the week. This is the event that marks the beginning of the reign of the Antichrist, in the midst of that last 7 years. So, again, we're shown that the reign of the Antichrist will be this 3.5 years. So far we see that there's a final 7-year period, and that the last 3.5 years, the second half of that 7-year period, is the reign of the Antichrist. We know with absolute certainty that this is so. The time of Satan's wrath, Revelation chapter 12 verse 12. This is the same time period of the Antichrist's rule, during the last 3.5 years. Revelation chapter 12 verse 14 shows a 3.5-year time period which matches the same time period which is the second half of the final 7 years where the Antichrist rules the world. The tribulation is the last 3.5 years, as Jesus said. Jesus said, "When we see the abomination of desolation, then shall be tribulation." We've already proven that the time of the Antichrist's rule is 3.5 years after he sits in the temple claiming to be God. So we can know for certain that the tribulation lasts 3.5 years and it's the last 3.5 years. For more information, visit BibleProphecyandTruth.com.